name's Melissa Chapman, and I've been coming to GracePointe for about 2.5 years, ever since I met my husband Greg. I don't have a big moment story and then everything was different. Mine has kind of been proof of God's patience and how He never gives up on us. But it seems like I can always remember praying and knowing that God was there. When I was little, I didn't go to church much. My father had passed away when I was a baby, so it was just me and my mom. And she struggled with anxiety and depression off and on for many years, so she didn't go places a whole lot. She had met some ladies with Jehovah's Witnesses who would come over and Bible study with her. And, you know, whether we agree now as an adult with what they believed, someone was there studying the Bible with my mom. That's what I remembered. I remember my mom doing a lot of Bible study on her own and writing in notebooks and praying, so that did influence me. But I also remember not having a, earthly father, and how that kind of made me feel different. And like Mom and I loved her so much, but I still always kind of felt like something was missing because it was just she and I. And I think I had a lot of fears of losing her. When I was about 8, one of my cousins who had been brought up in church was at our house, and we were watching some televangelists on TV. And she kind of led me to the sinner's prayer to repeat what the pastor was saying on TV. And I was kind of shy and nervous and saying the prayer, but the minute it was over, I literally felt like Jesus had come into my heart. And I just got all emotional and started crying. And I was like, wow, something really just happened. And we went swimming that day. We lived in a small country town and went swimming in the river a lot. But I couldn't swim. I just kind of had to stay where I could touch still. And that day we were trying to cross the river, and we came back a different way than we had went. And I got into water over my head and panicked and started drowning. And it was like time had stopped, and my mom didn't know how to swim, and no one was coming to rescue me. And I remember after I finally doggy paddled and struggled and made it to the bank, that I was like, thank gosh I got saved this morning. What would have happened? But as an adult, I look back and joke that Jesus just baptized me himself that day. So then I didn't go to church. I didn't really have a church to go to. So for many years, it was I just prayed. And throughout my teenage years, of course, I started doing like most kids do and getting into trouble and having, not with school, but just having bad relationships and unhealthy relationships and self-destructive behaviors and addictions. And I spent most of my late teens, early 20s that way, struggling with a lot of things. I'd been in a couple of abusive relationships and situations. And really, even at my lowest points, when I would feel like no one was there, I still felt like God was tapping me on the shoulder. And as an only child, and when everything that would go on, I would just reach out and pray and know that He was there and know that He loved me regardless. When I was about 24, I had already had my daughter, Taryn, and I had moved to a town where I didn't know anyone. And it seemed like everyone that had reached out to me were Christians. And someone started inviting me to church, and I hadn't been to church really ever. So I was like, oh gosh, why? But I wanted a friend, and I went. It was the most amazing church, a wonderful pastor, a great group of small group of ladies and mothers. And we started doing Bible study, and they really started teaching me how to read the Bible, how to study the Bible, how to lift each other up, how to have fellowship. The pastor taught me a lot. I really just learned so much and grew so much in that year's time. And after I had my daughter and started reading the Bible and all this, my spiritual growth just took off. I would make bad choices out of not wanting to be alone. And I did finally lose my mom to cancer, and so I think I would just reach out, almost like that drowning person, and try to make relationships anywhere. I did a lot of self-study and some really good Bible studies, like Beth Moore's So Long Insecurity, and realized that a lot of the bad choices I'd been making was just out of fear and not out of love, and that I was choosing people to love me and being in relationships with people that didn't know how to love because they didn't know Christ. When I finally met my husband, Greg, I can still tear up to this day because he shows me love the way God loves us. and it's the way it's meant to be. I've brought my daughter up in church, and I'm so proud of her. And on her 9th birthday, when she chose to get saved and get baptized, we got baptized together. And since then, I couldn't go back any other way.